Donny Edward Hathaway was born on October 1st, 1945 in Chicago. Hathaway began singing in the church choir with his grandmother, a professional gospel singer, at the age of 3. He studied music on a fine arts scholarship at Howard University in Washington, D.C., where he met Rick Powell, who ultimately launched Donny's musical career. At Howard, he was also a member of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, but during 1967, just before completing a degree, Donny and Rick left Howard after receiving job offers in the music business. Hathaway worked as a songwriter, session musician, and producer for Curtis Mayfield's Curtom Records in Chicago. He did the arrangements for hits by the Unifics, Court of Love, and The Beginning of My End, and took part in projects by the Staple Singers, Jerry Butler, Aretha Franklin, The Impressions, and Curtis Mayfield himself. After becoming a house producer at Curtom, he started recording there. Hathaway recorded his first single under his own name in 1969, a duet with singer June Conquest called I Thank You Baby. That year, Hathaway signed to Atco Records, then a division of Atlantic Records, after being spotted for the label by producer-musician King Curtis at a trade convention. He released his first single of note, The Ghetto, which he co-wrote with former Howard roommate Leroy Hudson, who became a performer, writer, and producer with Curtom. The track appeared the following year on his critically acclaimed debut LP, Everything is Everything, which he co-produced with Rick Powell, while also arranging all the cuts. His second LP, Donny Hathaway, consisted mostly of covers of contemporary pop, soul, and gospel songs. His third album, Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway, was an album of duets with former Howard University associate and label mate Roberta Flack, for whom he previously sang backup on Killing Me Softly with his song that established him, especially on the pop charts. The album was a critical and commercial success, including the track Where Is the Love, which proved to be not only an R&B success, but also scored top 5 on the Pop Hot 100. It sold over 1 million copies and was awarded a gold disc by the RIAA on September 5, 1972. Hathaway was the co-composer and performer of the Christmas standard, This Christmas. The song, released in 1970, has become a holiday staple and is often used in movies, television, and advertising. Hathaway followed this flurry of work with contributions to soundtracks, along with his recording of the theme song to the TV series Maude. His final studio album, Extension of a Man, came out in 1973 with 2 tracks, Love, 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 and I Love You More Than You'll Ever Know, reaching both the pop and R&B charts. It also included his classic ballad, Someday We'll All Be Free, and a 6-minute symphonic-styled instrumental piece called I Love the Lord, He Heard My Cry. He returned to the charts in 1978 after again teaming up with Roberta Flack for a duet, The Closer I Get to You on her album, Blue Lights in the Basement. The song topped the R&B chart and reached the number 2 spot on the Hot 100. Atlantic then put out another solo single, You Were Meant for Me, shortly before his sudden death. During the peak of his career, Hathaway began experiencing severe bouts of depression and exhibiting unusual behavior. In 1971, he was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, for which he was prescribed various medications. At one point, Hathaway was prescribed 14 different medications that he was to take twice a day. After Hathaway was diagnosed and began taking medication, his mental state improved. However, Eulalia Hathaway has said that her father became less than diligent about following his prescription regimen when he began feeling better and often stopped taking his medications altogether. From 1973 to 1977, Hathaway's mental instability wreaked havoc on his life and career and required several hospitalizations. The effects of his depression and severe mood swings also drove a wedge in his and Flack's friendship. They did not reconcile for several years and did not release additional music until the successful release of The Closer I Get to You in 1978. Flack and Hathaway then resumed studio recording to compose a second album of duets. On January 13th, Hathaway began a recording session with producers, musicians, Eric Mercury and James Mtoom. Each reported that although Hathaway was singing fine, he began behaving irrationally, seeming to be paranoid and delusional. According to Mtoom, Hathaway said that people were trying to kill him and had connected his brain to a machine for the purpose of stealing his music and his voice. Given Hathaway's behavior, Mercury said that he decided the recording session could not continue, so he aborted it, and all of the musicians went home. Hours later, Hathaway was found dead on the pavement below the window of his 15th floor room in New York City's Essex House Hotel. It was reported that he had jumped from his balcony. His hotel room door was locked from the inside and the window glass carefully removed. There were no signs of a struggle, leading investigators to rule that Hathaway's death was a suicide. Flack was devastated and, spurred by his death, included the few duets they had finished on her next album, Roberta Flack featuring Donny Hathaway, 1980. According to Mercury, Hathaway's final recording was You Are My Heaven, a song Mercury co-wrote with Stevie Wonder. Hathaway's funeral was conducted by the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Later in 1979, the Whispers recorded the tribute Song for Donny for their self-titled album. The song reached number 21 on the R&B chart. That same year, they used that tribute song's arrangement to do a cover of Hathaway's song This Christmas, included on their Christmas album, Happy Holidays to You. Donny Hathaway was an amazingly gifted artist. His song, The Ghetto, has been covered by several artists. His ability to connect with the inner struggles and emotions of people everywhere allowed him to create some of the most heartfelt music ever. His death left a hole in the world of music, and the world in general. Donny Hathaway produced more than music. He created feelings. Gone Too Soon, the legendary Donny Hathaway.